Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Income 651. Welcome to week boom 10. How you doing? Let's get rid of this. That's a sad sight and a sad sound when you get the last of the coffee. But thankfully, I am now your sufficiently caffeinated communication instructor, welcoming you back from spring break or modular week. I think that's what they call it. It's cold where I live. It was something like 70 degrees during spring break, and then Sunday, Monday, I woke up and there was snow on the ground. I was like, wait, how? What month is it? How long have I been asleep? Weird stuff, and now it's freezing. But I hope that you passed a restful break, get a little distance from everything. You'll notice in Canvas that it just says week 9, no readings, no work. Okay, because there was nothing. But here we are in week 10. All right, I've got a couple of things for you. A new assignment and an announcement that I'd like to go over. So this week, week 10, all right, we're going to start looking in terms of our reading about types of research methodology. We'll start with qualitative. But simultaneously, week 10, you will now start on your third PR presentation. Your second ones, your SWOT analyses are all graded. They're in there. If you have questions for me, please reach out to me and try to get hold of me before March 29th. That is either this week or the end of next week, and I'll explain why here in just a second. All right, if you have questions. But for your third exercise, so now you've tried to make the case to the good people at Backcountry as to why research is important. You've done a SWOT analysis, so you've sort of taken a dive into what's going on with the company. Now it is time to create your PR campaign plan. So for exercise number 3, your PR presentation, you are going to create the draft of that plan. All right, so here's what you do. This is all laid out in the instructions for you. Go to the Scott book, textbook. Go to chapter 9 that just happens to be titled Writing the PR Campaign Plan. Read that chapter carefully. Then, using the template that you find in that chapter, I want you to start to create your campaign plan. Not start to create the plan, outline it. Now, the only thing that you don't have to do from chapter 9 is the writing timeline, because the writing timeline is sort of like a project management template, and it assumes that there are a lot of people on the PR team and each person's taking a different section. You are a team of 1, so you're taking all of them. But, all right, although this is a draft plan, do not leave sections blank and real drafty draft sections. So what do I mean by that? So when you go to Scott, you go through chapter 9, and you'll see that there are various sections that are standard. This isn't the only way to come up with a PR campaign plan, by the way. Okay, this is just a good one. There are standard sections. Okay, so let's say one of them is the goals. All right, don't write in this section goals. This is the section in which we'll write the goals. And then, if you want to write them in single sentences, kind of bullet points, things that you're going to expound on later, these will be the goals. These are the top 3 goals for Backcountry. All right. When you finish this, that'll be assignment number 4. All right. You're going to flesh that out. You say, these are the goals for Backcountry. Improve its public relations. The reason that this is a goal is, they ran around suing everybody. The way we're going to improve their public relations is, this is the following things that you're going to do. So for this part of the plan, in each of the sections, don't say that, in this section will contain the SWOT analysis. All right. Say, this section, we've done a SWOT analysis and the highlights are, and then move to the next section. So get the draft ready for you to turn it into the final document. But I'm gonna require more from you in each of the sections than a statement that what what will go in the section. You understand? Okay. Now for your PR presentation number 2, those are all graded. Just by way of general feedback, okay? You know, and this, I want you to use this for this plan, okay? You know, most of you did pretty well, all right? One of the things that I would say is you know, was sort of a common that came up and was a common reoccurrence is that you know, you made a statement. You say, you know, that there's a loyal customer base for Backcountry. All right. Well, how do we know this? Where's your evidence? Remember, you're talking to the company and you say, oh, you've got a loyal customer base. Okay. How do we know? I mean, you're not there to you know, stroke their ego. You're there to help them. Some of you had charts and tables that you know, just didn't necessarily make any sense. You didn't explain them in the context of presenting your SWOT, okay? Or, you know, you just lack the evidence. You know, I'm just going to read from somebody here. Customer engagement and conversion rates are stimulated by competitive price or user-friendly interface and frequent promotional offers. Okay, great. How do you know this? What's the evidence? Think of the same thing as you're laying out the draft for this PR plan. Why is this goal a goal? What's the evidence of why this needs to be done? One of the things that companies must be careful not to do is to do things that don't need to be done. I mean, there's a finite amount of time, money, and emotional energy that a group of people have. And if you expend that time, money, and emotional energy on projects in a direction that don't serve the needs that need to be addressed, you end up, it would have been better that you didn't do anything at all. Okay. So for this draft section, start thinking, you know, ahead to the final document. What's the evidence that supports why this is going to be done this way and why it needs to be done in the first place? Okay. But again, this is not the only way in Chapter 9 in Scott to set up a PR plan, but this is a fairly standard template. So follow that template. Like by way of the readings, you know, you'll take a look at Stacks 8. We're going to start talking about methodology, starting with qualitative methodologies. So in a way, you know, there's a slight disunity between what you're reading in Stacks and what you read in Scott, but use Scott to help you, you know, walk through this third exercise. And Stacks is, you know, you can sort of think about it as, if I would recommend research, which you will in the PR campaign plan, this is the type of research I would recommend, and this is how we're going to go about it. Okay, so that's this weekend. What happened last week? Throughout this week, I've been grading your discussion sections. You'll notice that if you just participate, I'm going to give you the points. Now, yes, because when I go through the answers that you submit, I'll highlight, you know, what it is that I'm looking for. All right. But in terms of the point of the exercise, the point of the exercise is to make sure that you read it and that you're reading other people's stuff and engaging with them. So you'll notice, you know, I'm not like, I don't grade like, you know, 1.5 or something. Okay. As I go through and grade those, and I've already started, and that will be finished this week. All right. Finally, this third exercise, this third PR exercise is due on April 7th. Okay. And then I will have for you the instructions for exercise presentation number 4, which is going to be turning this draft into a finished document that I'll have you complete. All right. But as some of you know, I think I've mentioned sometimes in my videos, I do communication and PR consulting around the planet. I have a company, okay, and I will be on the road, out doing some work, coming up at the end of this month and through the beginning of the next month. So you know, I will not be in my office from the 31st of March until really the 7th or 8th of April. Okay. Now I'm going to be in a place and I'm going to be doing some work where it's best practices for me to stay away from online environments. And I'm not going to get into specifics, but if you Google my name, Jeff Gardner, and then words like Iraq or Syria or Iraqi Christians, you'll see an ample sample of the work that I do. And without my getting into specifics, I think you could get the point as to why I'm going to be quiet. I will periodically have access. I'm trying to think. There's going to be couple of places that I'll be in where I really won't have access to email. Well, I'll have access to email, but I won't have access to Canvas, perhaps. Yeah, there are going to be a couple of spots during that week where I won't have access to Canvas, but I will have access to email. All right. But it's just going to be just like a normal week. I'll post all the stuff before the 31st. I mean, normally I post on Tuesday, but I'll post it before that Monday. So you'll have it. Okay. And that will include assignment number 4. You can get that a rolling during that week. All right. And, I'll be surfacing for air round about the 7th of April. So from the 31st to the 7th, just 1 week. And, then it's the race to the finish, because we roll out and we roll down. And in the last week number 16, the 28th of April to the 3rd of May, there's no readings. This is, this week you'll get ready and take your final exam, but I'll talk about that when we get closer. Just let me suffice to say that no, I'm not going to give you a study sheet for the exam. How do you study for the exam? You can study right now. Begin right now by going back and studying the discussion questions. It'll be from those questions that I draw the questions for the exam. All right. And the reason that I don't give study sheets is I've found in the past, especially with online environments, present company excluded, of course, that when I give study sheets, what people tend to do is just fill out the stuff on the sheet and then, either in print form or in some other form, reference the sheet while they're taking the test. And the point of the test is not to see how well you can fill out a sheet and then look up the answers as you're taking a test. The point of the test is to see how well you can internalize the information and then synthesize the information and give maybe a short answer, or pick the correct one out of several, stuff like that. Okay. So I think some of you would ask me, we're going to get a study guide. The answer is no. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the class. We're coming around the back stretch now with week 10. So we've got 7 more weeks to go. Hang in there. All right. Take a look at my comments on your PR presentation number 2. Look at the assignment for number 3. If you have any questions, send me an email or catch me during my office hours this week and next week, right up to March 28th. All right. And remember, I think about you, I pray about you, and as always, I will see you on Canvas. Bye-bye.